Hello, we are going to make some decorated cupcakes for Thanksgiving that are going to kind of look like turkeys. So here are the things that you're going to need. You're going to need cupcakes. Tonight I'm just going to do 2 of them. Some donut holes, these will become the heads. Some sugar cookies. You can either buy some and then cut them, or it's just as easy to get the roll of sugar cookie dough, roll it out and use a star-shaped cookie cutter and cut them out. Just make sure that when you bake them, you put them far enough apart, because remember they are going to spread, so you can probably only get about 6 of them on a standard size baking sheet. Okay. And then you'll need some pieces of candy corn, some little edible eyeballs. They are very small. You can get them there in the cake decorating supplies. And then some candy coated chocolate. Those kind that melt in your mouth, not in your hands. Okay, so that's really all you need. Oh, here's one more thing. Well, you need something to kind of make the little forget what they call it, the little red thing that kind of hangs down the side, and it's just as easy to make those out of the gummy worms, the kind that are flat, depending on what brand they are. Sometimes they say that they're strips, sometimes they say they're gummy worms. And they usually come with a couple of different colors on each one. So we're just going to use the red part and save the rest for something else. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut these red pieces. And since I'm only making 2, I really only need to cut 1 and then cut it in half. But, just because sometimes you drop things or whatever, things don't work quite the way you plan, I'll make an extra. I'll use an extra piece. So we actually have 4 that are cut. And with 4, we should be able to use 2. Okay, and then the candy corn, what you're going to do is cut off that back piece, which is usually yellow. And you're going to just get rid of it. You can eat it, you can throw it away, whatever you want. So all you're going to need, these are going to be the beak, so you just need the tip, the pointed part, and then enough to kind of poke it into the donut hole. Okay, so that's the first couple things we're going to do. The other thing we're going to have is some edible glue, which you can get also in the cake decorating section. And so we are going to start with the cookies. Now these cookies are going to end up being kind of shoved down into the back of the cupcake, so that this is going to become the tail feathers. So you only need to decorate like the top half. So I'm just going to put some edible glue on here. Just stick some of these little discs, whatever colors you want. And you probably only need to do about 2 rows. Maybe 2 or 3 rows, we'll see. Of course, the glue is pretty clear, so you need to make sure you've got plenty of light so you can see what you're doing. And let's see, we need one more right here. Let's see, what color do we want to do there? Let's do a green one. Okay. Then we're just going to set that aside, let it start drying. And if your cookies didn't cut perfectly, you know, if there's like a bad spot, put that to the side that's going to go down. It's not going to show. These are actually not too bad. Okay, so here we go. You're going to get some glue on your fingers as you're doing this. No big deal. Just wipe it off. I don't know, it looks like 9 actually on each one. So like I said, we're going to let those dry. Take at least 15 minutes, possibly a little bit longer. We'll see. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the heads. And these are just regular donut holes with a little bit of glaze on them. So we're going to cut a spot off so that when you can lay it on there, it'll have a flat spot to keep it from rolling. This is where things can get just a little bit challenging because you've got small spaces you're working with. So I'm just going to cut a little tiny hole towards the front, and we're just going to stick a beak in there. Okay, there you go. Do the same thing on the second one. Put the beak in there. And then we have our eyes and our little red, whatever that thing is called. I think I'm going to do the glue on the donut hole for the eyes. Drop them on there. Because as I said, these are quite small. So there's the eyes. Okay. And then we're going to put the little red thing. I think we always called it a gobbler as I was a kid, but I think it's really called like a waddle or something like that. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is kind of set it up a little bit. To lean it on something. Okay, that'll work. Okay, now we're doing the eyes on the other one. Okay, it wants to stick to my finger. Ideally, you would probably be doing more than 2 of these. I don't know. Depends on how many kids you have at your house for Thanksgiving. Or even adults. But a standard cake mix usually makes about 12 cupcakes. So while you're doing the others, you can be letting all of this dry. And then before we start assembling it, we're going to flatten out our icing. Now I bought these cupcakes, so I kept them in the refrigerator. So the icing is a little bit more solid than it would be if you freshly iced them and just had them sitting out. All right, we are ready to finish our cupcakes. So we are going to take our cupcake and we're going to put a slit near the back so that we can put the tail feathers in. And then put the head on top. So there's one. And there is 2.